For as long as I can remember, I have always been captivated by the enemies in games, specifically those in the Soulsborne series. Each one is deeply rooted in the lore of its world, and many of them even have their own motivations. Being able to step away from the protagonist and into the shoes of one of these enemies is the coolest thing to me. Thanks to the very talented modding community, I am now actually able to play through the entire game as an enemy, and when I asked all of you who you wanted to see, you chose one of the most beloved bosses in the entire series, Artorias. This video is the first in a new series, and the rules are simple. We play on max new game difficulty, every enemy has been multiplied by 3, and I must defeat every required boss in the game. With all of that said, even though I am playing as Artorias, this is not going to be easy. To start, I've selected the Knight class, and I did my best to make our stats as similar to Dark Souls 1's Artorias as possible. But please keep in mind that these are not one-to-one, and given the fact that DS1 and 3 are two completely different games, this is somewhat arbitrary, so bear with me. Before we jump in, I just want to give a special thanks to these people for their work on the mods that I'm using. Their information is in the description. I did not make these mods, they did, so please check them out if you have a chance. There's also a tutorial down there in case you're interested in setting this run up yourself. Without any further ado, welcome to the Artorias run. It's finally here, the Artorias run. First and foremost, this is not your typical run. Given the fact that Artorias is so strong, I felt like it would be really boring to play as him in a conventional playthrough. I wanted something that would challenge Artorias while keeping things fresh and entertaining at the same time, so I opted for Zully's aggression mod to make all of the enemies constantly chase me from basically anywhere, and I combined that with TKGP's Onslaught mod, which tripled all of the enemies and NPCs. Playing as Artorias is actually really fun. I mean, you can see I'm just mowing down enemies, and his moveset is really agile. Kinda plays like a Dynasty Warriors game a little bit. I did do some playtesting before I started recording this episode, and as you'll see in this one, the difficulty really picks up. I head into the boss arena, and it's oops all Gundyrs. Gundyr himself isn't really too much of a problem. As long as I don't get wombo combo, then we should be fine, and that'll hold true for basically every enemy from here on out. I get knocked down a bunch, and an undead cleric manages to glitch his way in from the Firelink Shrine Gate, and another one glitches his way in from the cemetery. Zully the Witch does a really good job of explaining why this happens. I'm just going to link the video as a card, so check it out if you're curious. As far as equipment and items go, I'll only be using Estus and the Wolf Knight set. I'm also going to be using the Wolf Knight ring in the next episode because if you'll remember in Artorias' lore, Gwyn actually gave him the Wolf ring as a testament to his iron will, which is probably why it increases your poise. I know I don't usually use Estus in my runs, but since this is a full game playthrough, it kinda makes sense to use it. I'm not even sure if the run is possible otherwise. The next area is normally covered in very passive NPCs who can be found either praying or sleeping, but thanks to the aggression mod, this is not the case. In addition to making it past the wall, we now have to make it by 3 Puss Man Hollows, the room with the Estus shard, and somehow beat 3 Vorts. I begin my triple on the high wall, and it's very important that I start with this attack, as not only does it give Artorias really cool looking glowing eyes, but it also increases my defense greatly. I head over to the stairs, and you can already see the horde of enemies waiting for me. I start forcing my way through, and they are not shy about stopping me. A few quick swings of my sword, and Artorias' patented 720-degree slash clear a path for us. But no matter how many of them I kill, more just seem to pop up in their place. With about a third of my HP left, I finally make it into the room, and I'm able to take a few swigs from my Estus flask. I make it to the base of the dragon's stairs, and after clearing a small path, I try somersaulting up the staircase, and it doesn't really work out. Luckily, the dragon's fire breath takes out the ones at the top of the staircase, and I'm able to run and roll through. The ladder climbing animation looks kind of funny when you get to the top of it, and that's mainly because of how I resized Artorias. When you download this mod, you'll notice that he's kind of small. Samchan has a tutorial on his channel for how to fix that, but if you decide that you want to resize Artorias for your run, let me know if you get stuck and I can try to help you out. I know I've been saying this for a while now, but I am working on an all-in-one tutorial for you guys, so stay tuned for that. After lighting the second bonfire in this area, I make the mistake of sitting at it. Afterward, I use my One with the Abyss attack to clear out some enemies ahead of time before running down the stairs and getting bullied by these guys. I finish them off, and the best way to deal with the Pus of Man-Hollows is also to use the One with the Abyss attack, but it doesn't reach the other two, so once I jump down, that's when they spawn in. After getting knocked around a bit, I finish them off, and before I head down, I can hear the horde just waiting for me at the base of the ladder, so I use my One with the Abyss attack one more time to make some room. This attack is really good. I head down, finish them off, and miss an attack on this Lothric Knight, and now we're in one of the map's worst rooms. I go for the Firebomb Hollow first, and when I turn around, there's like 10 of the axe-wielding ones waiting for me, and they can all swing faster than I can. I'm in real danger here, so I run back, and surprise, surprise, there's another one waiting for me here. I'm finally able to heal, but now we're surrounded. 2 more hollows appear, and 1 backstabs me, which I actually appreciated because now I'm able to jump down and fight them out in the open, which is where Artorias excels. A few more Estus later, and I clear out the mob and make my way into the next section. I drop down on top of the big boys here, and the cavalry arrives. Remember earlier when I said that NPCs were also tripled? Well, that includes phantoms, and all of them are already summoned for some reason. It's just kind of a side effect of the mod. But I'm not complaining, we need the extra help, so it's a welcome addition. I clean up the big guys and in the process lose a phantom, who are all, by the way, just as big as I am. I make my way into the main gate area, and these guys have to go, otherwise they will all glitch their way into the boss fight and make things way harder than they actually are. I'm now covered in blood and take this opportunity to admire the dancers desperately trying to attack me from within their arena. I'm gonna have to go in there if I want the banner, but I'll worry about that later. I head toward Vort and summon the real Vort. As I'm making my way toward him, I dodge a few attacks, and my superior speed makes it easy to outmaneuver them. I'm finding a lot of success with our charge spinning attack, so I try to use it whenever I can. After landing a few slashes, I back off and they group up, and this is the perfect opportunity for a somersault, so I go for one. The 2 fake Vorts enter their second phase, and this is where things start to get bad. The constant dashing makes it really hard to keep up with them, and Frostbite does about 11% of my max HP, and I take an extra 7% damage while I'm afflicted. I get a few heals off, dodge some attacks, and I try going for one with the Abyss again, and as I'm charging it up, it becomes very apparent that this is not going to work. The real Vort finally goes into his second phase, and right when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it does. After a little more back and forth, I finish off one with a somersault and the other with an aerial attack, and the final Vort goes down to a thrust. With all 3 down, there was only one thing left to do. After picking up the banner from Emma, it was time to head over to the Undead Settlement, and in the next episode, things get even crazier.